Welcome to She's a DPM, a platform for women to share their experiences, knowledge, and insights on cultivating a life in and outside the field of podiatric medicine and surgery. Welcome to the first episode of She's a DPM. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Oexeman, and I'm excited to get started. I always tell myself, get comfortable being uncomfortable. So here we are. I've been sitting on this idea for quite some time, if I should start a podcast, if anybody would listen to it, if it could be beneficial to anyone out there, especially females aspiring to be DPMs, students, residents, fellows, or even maybe the female podiatric physicians that are already out there, but looking for a network. It has been a compilation of experiences that has pushed me to start this podcast in the hopes to be beneficial to anyone out there with a similar career path. As we know, female representation in academia, research, most leadership positions, certifications has increased over time, but is definitely at a slower rate than the number of women that are entering the profession. And I believe that now in podiatric schools, females are 50% of the incoming classes, so something to consider. And that most female podiatric physicians have lower academic standings, fewer publications, receive less awards, and overall are underrepresented in leadership positions, are less satisfied in their careers, and experience increased rates of harassment while also reporting higher stress levels compared to their male colleagues. Wow, that's a lot put on us. So I really do want to dive into that for a moment and share some of my personal experiences that also encouraged me to do this podcast. And I know that 99.9% of us probably have similar experiences. So let's throw it back to being an extern. Yes, fourth year in school. I will never forget that towards the end of one of my extern months, I was sat down by, was told, hey, we really like you and you had a great month, but I'm not sure if this program is going to take a girl because we just took one last year. Okay, well, thanks for your time. See you later. Later that year during interviews, a program who notoriously took one female and one male resident each year told me and another female fourth-year student that we had scored the highest on the academic portion of the interview. And they even let some male students have extra time during the interview to try and quote-unquote beat us, but they couldn't. Okay, well, that's not really fair. I wish you could have seen my face because I was just dumbfounded. Like, that logic didn't make any sense to me. Didn't you just want to take the best candidate, regardless if they were both females? Would it be so horrible to have two females together? And I know, like I said, I'm not alone in these experiences. They happen all the time, not just in our field, but multiple specialties, day in and day out. During residency, I found myself looking for female mentorship, someone that had similar interests and was paving their way in this field, kicking ass and taking names, and that I could picture myself as in 5, 10, 15 years down the road and say, yeah, she's a badass, and if she can do it, so can I. During trips to courses and symposiums, as soon as I got there, the first thing I would do would be scan the course agenda to see if there were any female panelists or instructors. Sometimes there were, sometimes there weren't. And for those times that were, I'm glad that I had the opportunity to meet a lot of wonderful, brilliant, talented female surgeons in our field. And guess what? They were all willing to help or answer any questions that I've had, not just then, but over the years. But what if I wouldn't have met them or didn't have the nerve to put myself out there to meet them? What if I didn't have the opportunity to go to these courses and symposiums like maybe other residency programs? Who would I have relied on to hear about certain opportunities, navigate challenges in training, starting a practice, and maintaining a work-life balance while being female. This past year with COVID, I had quite the commute, like an hour and a half both ways. So you bet I was listening to a lot of podcasts because you can't play car karaoke for an hour and a half. So I was always looking for resources that I could listen to on my commute. Of course, I had my go-to podcasts, health and wellness, or the favorite guilty pleasures such as Dr. Death and Crime Junkie. But then I found myself looking for a podcast that was more relatable and could share specific insights on not only just being a female in the medical field, but also specifically deal with podiatric medicine and surgery. So here we are today. And we all have a voice, and it's time to start using it. The purpose of this podcast is to present quality content for aspiring female DPMs, current students, residents, fellows, and the ladies already out there making it happen in the field of podiatric medicine and surgery, while also educating the medical field on our profession. We will discuss not only work, but life outside of work and everything in between. I'm looking forward to interviewing some amazing female colleagues across the country, hearing their own experiences, knowledge, hobbies, outside interests, side hustles, unique niches in our field, wellness, and honestly, whatever we want to talk about, because guess what? This space is for us. Please make sure to subscribe to know when new episodes are available. Email me at droxeman@gmail.com. The address is in the show notes below. And let me know if there's a topic or if you know a kick-ass lady who should be interviewed. Thanks for listening. Looking forward to hearing your comments and suggestions on the podcast. And remember, stay uncomfortable. That's where we grow.